Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I thought that I would dive into trying some of Wayne Goss's favorite products from 2020. I know that we're in February already, but I really enjoy trying things that other beauty gurus and beauty influencers enjoy, and I appreciate Wayne Goss's channel because most of his videos are fairly concise, so they're not going to be 45 minutes, an hour, 2 hours long, so I can fit them in here and there being a busy mom. I appreciate that. I also find his reviews to be to the point. I find them to be helpful. A lot of his makeup application tips I have tried and I do still practice. So I just find his channel to be very useful, very enjoyable. So I'm excited to try some of his favorites, and some of them are brand new to me. So if you guys would like to see me try some of Wayne's favorite products from 2020, then just keep watching. So I thought that I would start off with eyes. He really enjoys the Natasha Denona shadows and the Pat McGrath shadows. I recently did a video on the newest Pat McGrath Mothership palette, the Rose Decadence one, so I didn't want to do another Pat McGrath, so I figured we would try a Natasha Denona. I haven't tried her Star palette in quite some time, so I figured we would give this one some love today. And if you don't know what this one looks like inside, it looks like this. Okay, so eye makeup is done aside from finishing touches, so let's move on to the face. His favorite primer, surprisingly, because he usually likes higher end things, is the e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer, which I just picked up in December. So we will put this on, and then he didn't list a foundation that I could get my hands on, so I will just apply one of my favorite foundations and move on to concealer. So let's zoom through this. Just going to use my Estee Lauder Futurist Hydra Rescue foundation, which I really enjoy. Okay, so foundation's on. Next up, we'll move on to concealer. He liked the NARS Soft Matte Complete Concealer, which a lot of YouTubers seem to really love. This came out a couple years ago. He also recommended the IT Cosmetics Bye Bye Under Eye, and I have the Bye Bye Under Eye eye lift in a tube. I'm not sure if this is the one he loves or not, but one has more of like a peachy color and one's more of a illuminating color. So since I feel like I tried this one a lot on camera, I'm going to try the IT Cosmetics one. It's been a while since I've tried this. Let's see, we'll start with the brightening. That did a good job of counteracting the blue. Now I'm going to use the brightening shade and just brighten kind of the inner corner and outer corner of the eyes. This is a trick that he taught me, not specifically me. This is a trick that Wayne Goss uses to lift the eyes. Okay, so eyes are color corrected, they're concealed, and they are brightened, so now it's time for powder. He recommends the Hourglass Veil Powder, which I don't think I've ever tried. I have like a little sample size here. Look, this is the powder right here. It looks very brightening with perhaps just a hint of sheen to it. I like to set the under eyes with one of these little sponges, so I will do that with this powder and see what I think. Ooh, it's very yellow. It's not bright enough for my under eyes. Not super brightening, so let me try my regular one on the other eye. The one I generally use under my eyes is either the Pat McGrath, the lightest powder, or I'll use the Covergirl 120 Clean Fresh powder. And I feel like that really does a good job of brightening under the eyes. Covergirl, Hourglass. The Hourglass one just has a little bit more yellow to it, and I don't really notice any glow, so I'm just going to go ahead and brighten it a little bit more with the Covergirl. But I will try the Hourglass all over the face. can tell you already I don't like this concealer. It makes my under eyes look very creasy and dry. I find that these like thicker cream concealers tend to do that for me. They're not as forgiving as like a liquid concealer. Okay, so not loving that. So we'll move on. Okay, on to a product that is new for me for highlight, blush, and bronzer. He highly recommends the Hourglass powders. So I went ahead and purchased an Hourglass palette. This one is the Ghost Unlocked Ambient Palette. And in here there is a soft light finishing powder, there's a filtered light finishing powder, a golden bronze bronzer, a nude glow blush, a mood flush blush, and a metallic strobe powder in champagne strobe light. So we have all three things in one. I have previously tried the ambient luminous light that comes in a package like this, but I've never tried one of the palettes with the bronzer, blush, highlight, finishing powder, etc. So inside it looks like this. Okay, so it looks like we have finishing powders, a highlight, a bronzer, and 2 blushes. So let me just see what these look like here. Okay, so we've got finishing powder, highlight, which isn't as intense as I was expecting. Bronzer, blush 1, blush 2. I think I'll be going with blush 2 because I'm wearing more like red tones today. So why don't we go ahead and dust on the lightest finishing powder. Actually, I might mix these two just to see if it gives me like an overall glow. The only problem with these pans being so small is that when your brush is this big and this fluffy, it's hard not to hit the other ones in the process. But I went ahead and dusted it into the first 2 pans, and I don't really notice a whole lot of glow on my face, but like I said, I've already set with a powder. So let's move on to the bronzer. So far the bronzer seems fine. Nothing that I'm like super blown away by just yet. Okay, let's move on to blush. Again, I'm just gonna dip into this middle one here. It looks pretty intense, so perhaps I'll go back and forth between the red one and the pink one, but I'm gonna start off with the red, see how kind of intense this color is. Okay, turns out it is a pretty intense, like deep rosy red shade. So it would be great for deeper skin tones, but I think that I'm going to be able to kind of blend them all together once I have the highlight on, and then maybe a final coating of one of these finishing powders. So let's move on to the highlight. So this one over here is supposed to be a strobing powder. It's a strobe powder iridescent strobe light. So I think their strobe powders are their highlights. Okay, I see that. That's actually really subtle and pretty. It's not like a metallic beam on your face. It's pretty soft. I like that highlight a lot more than I expected to. Let's do a final dusting of this finishing powder to kind of bring it all together. And I think that kind of tied everything together nicely. I have like a flush of color on the cheeks, a nice natural looking bronze on the face. I like that so far. Next, let's move on to his favorite setting sprays. He recommends the iconic London setting spray, which I got this in a BoxyCharm, tried it once or twice. It was just a little too glittery for me. Like there's a lot of pigment at the bottom. And I remember it being very, very sparkly. So I'm gonna pass on this one, but he also recommended the Skindinavia one, which I do remember really liking. So we'll use this one today. So I do have to go out later and take the kids to the doctor, and I do not want a face full of glitter to go see the pediatrician. I like the way that that setting spray kind of melts everything together. My makeup looks nice and fresh. It doesn't look powdery. The under eyes I'm still not a big fan of. Yeah, just not a big fan of that concealer, but I like the powders. I like the setting spray. I like the Putty primer, the eyeshadow palette. Obviously, I had it in my collection. I like it. So I would say that I agree with most of the products that Wayne recommended for this video. Everyone is different. Some people love products that others hate and vice versa. And I didn't have any of the mascaras he recommended or the lip products because they were high-end products that were out of my price range for the most part, or I just didn't have them and I wasn't going to spend the high price tag to purchase them for this video. Hope you guys understand. But I had a good time trying some of Wayne's favorite products from 2020. Some new ones for me, some old favorites. Hope you guys enjoy this video too. If you did enjoy this video, remember to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel. Also head over and visit Wayne Goss's channel as well if you haven't already. And as always, I will see you in my next video. Bye guys.